Hi everyone, I'm Ria and today we're going to talk about our favorite family. No, we're not going to talk about the Simpsons. Why? Did you think we're going to talk about a Hollywood family? I'm going to talk about a much more interesting family. Yes, the WH family. Where did your enthusiasm go? Come on, the lesson is going to be fun. Come on, let's concentrate. Okay, today we're going to talk about the WH family. Okay, the words that are in the WH family or question words. Okay, now these are very simple words, and today we're going to learn as to how we will use these words and what are the probable answers to it. First one, who? If you are going to ask somebody a question using the word who, that means you want to know about a person, okay? So if you ask a question like, who is the captain or who is the captain of the volleyball team? Yeah, that's right, sorry. Okay, who is the captain of the volleyball team? So you want to know who is the captain of the volleyball team. You might say, actually, ma'am, Mary is the captain of the volleyball team. Do you want me to call her? She might be just practicing. Mary, right? So Mary is the answer that I'm looking for. If I ask a question regarding who, okay, I want to know who that person is. So in this case, Mary is the answer. Going on to the second question. Who is that weird guy standing over the counter? Now, if you are just standing, especially us girls, right? We are standing and right there at the counter, there's a guy who's just, feeling so cool and, ogling. So if somebody's actually ogling at you from the counter, what are you going to say? Or what is the question that your friend is going to ask you? She's going to ask you, who's that weird guy by the counter? What is your answer going to be? Oh, come on, that is just Ben. Yeah, he's a weirdo. He likes ogling at girls. So, Ben. Ben is the answer that you're looking for, right? If you ask the question, who's that weird guy by the counter? So, it's going to be Ben. You want to know the answer, which is Ben. Ben is the name of the person. So, if you're going to ask about a question regarding who, the answer is going to be the name of a person, right? The identity of a person. So, hey, Ben, come on. No more ogling. We're not really interested. Right? Okay, going on to the next set of questions. Where? If you ask a question regarding where, that means you want to know the location, okay? The location or the place, right? If you ask a question like, where's the bank? That means somebody wants to know where is the bank actually located, the place where the bank is. So I might say, the bank is in Churchgate. Yes, so Churchgate is the answer of, or it answers the question, sorry about that. It answers the question where, okay? So if I want to know where the bank is, Churchgate is where it is being located. So now I know the answer is Churchgate. If you go into the second one, where are my glasses? Have you seen my glasses? Usually my mom, she comes around to me and she'll be just looking at me and she'll say, I don't know, where did I keep my glasses? Do you know where my glasses are? And the only thing I say is, Ma, silly, they are on your head. All this time she'll be carrying it on her head and, asking everyone out there where her glasses are. So in this case, her head is the location or the place where the glasses can be found, right? So the answer to this question is head, right? So if you're asking a question regarding where, that means you want to know where something is located, all right? Or the location or the place. Let's go on to the third one, when. Okay, when. If you ask a question regarding when, that means you want to know about the time, okay? Like, for example, when is your flight? If someone asks you, you're actually rushing to the airport, and somebody asks, so when is your flight? Are you late? So you might say, no, I'm just rushing, maybe because of the traffic that I'm kind of, going early, but my flight is at 5 p.m. or my flight is at 5 o'clock. Right now it's just 2, so I've got 3 hours to spare, right? So 5 o'clock answers, yeah, that's right. 5 o'clock answers the question of when, somebody asks you when is your flight, that means the time, okay, the time the flight is the plane is going to embark on its journey, right? So when is your flight? The answer is 5 o'clock. Looking at a second example, when are we going to finish? Yes, I know. This might be going on in your head, right? Students usually say, oh ma'am, when are we going to, when are we going to finish? Well, if we're going to finish, it's going to be soon. So right now, you better focus, yes? So my answer to that question of yours is soon. Right, students? Soon we'll finish the lesson. So right now, just focus. When are we going to finish this video? It's going to be soon. Right, let's look at the next WH family, the next word, which is why. If I'm going to ask somebody a question regarding why, I really want to know the reason behind something, right? So if I ask a question like, why is he loud? Somebody screaming at the top of his voice, right? And you just ask your friend, why is he loud? Well, the answer could be because he thinks the people around him are actually deaf. That's why he's screaming at the top of his lungs. Yes, that is the reason. Yes, well, that's the reason that I can come up with is because the people around him are deaf. Right? That answers the question of why is he loud? If I ask a question like, why won't you listen to me? Yes, I know, sometimes I have this, these small kids coming up to me and they wouldn't be listening. Not really small kids, you teenagers sometimes, you won't be listening. So sometimes, moms usually ask, oh, not really moms, it's sometimes teachers kind of ask you, so why won't you listen to me? And if it is a teenager, they would say, because you're not my mom, and for that matter, I don't even listen to her. That's usually the kind of answers I usually get. Yes, well, why won't you listen to me? So, because you're not my mother? Yes, that is an appropriate answer by a teenager. So, because you are not my mother. That answers the question of why. So again, just to reiterate, okay, who? If you're asking a question about who, that means you're asking about who that person is, the identity of the person. But if you're asking a question about where, that means you want to know about the place, right? When? About the time, okay? About the time something is happening, right? And why? You want to know the reason. I hope that clears out some of your doubts. Okay, so we have looked at 4 words from the WH family. Let's look at more. What? Okay, so if you are asking a question regarding what, the answer should be a very specific information, right? So please gather that. So if you're going to ask a question like, what is your name? Okay, what is your name? So I require a specific information. Like for example, again, there's a guy who's standing and all of a sudden he just looks at you and says, what is your name, you pretty, pretty, pretty girl? So maybe, you might be interested. So you might say, oh, my name is Juliet. Or maybe if you're not interested, you might say, it's none of your business, right? So there are 2 types of answers. Like for example, Juliet. Now that answers the question of what is your name, right? It's a specific information. Or in the other case, none of your business, right? Right. All right. The second question, what is the price of an Apple Watch? That's new in the market, right? What is the price of an Apple Watch? It's about time you checked out the price, right? Because in the next video, I'll require you to send it over. So what's the price of an Apple Watch? It might be a few $1,000, probably $1,000, right? So the answer would be 1,000, let's say a denomination, dollars, right? Around $1,000. So that is the specific information or the specific answer that I require for this question. So if I'm asking a question about what's the price, what I wanted to know is the specific price, right? The specific information regarding this question, right? Now let's move on to which. If you ask a question regarding which, that means you need to know or you want to know a choice, okay? Or you're given two elements and you have to make a choice between them, right? Or what you prefer. Like for example, which if like two friends, right? Yes, I have a friend of mine and we are going to the restaurants and he asked me, so which drink did you order, right? So he might say rum or vodka. You actually wants to know what would I prefer. Now you're talking, right? Whether it's rum or it's vodka, but neither. No, we're not talking about rum or vodka. We're actually talking about probably a soda. So if there is probably, you know, with the choices between soda and water, maybe I'll require soda. So that answers the question. Which drink did you order? So from 2 or 3 choices, I ordered soda. No rum or vodka this time, right? Going to the second one. Which color iPhone would you buy? Now there are various colors like matte gold and silver and probably I think it's space gray. Yes. Oh, lovely, lovely iPhones. Which color which color iPhone would you buy? If somebody's going to gift me, I'll definitely, require a matte gold. Yes. Well, that is my preference or my choice of iPhone. So I would say matte gold. That's amazing, right? Okay, so which color iPhone would you buy? For me, I would prefer matte gold. Yes, maybe next video. Yes, maybe. Let's recap on what we learned so far. What? Okay, specific information. If you're asking a question regarding what, that means you want to know a specific information. And if you're asking a question regarding which, that means you've got a few options and you have to make a choice. Which one do you prefer? Got it? So we have looked at 5 members of the WH family. Let's look at the last one, right? It is how. If you ask a question using the word how, you actually want to know the manner or the method of doing something, right? Let's look at divisions of how we can use the word how. For example, how many? If you ask a question starting with how many, that means you want to know about the quantity of something. But do remember that that quantity is actually countable, right? We actually want to know about quantity that is countable. Let's look at this question. How many cubes of sugar do you want in your coffee? If I ask that question to you, how many cubes of sugar do you want in your coffee? You'd say 2 cubes, please. So 2 cubes. Now cubes you can count, right? Cubes of sugar you can count. So 2 cubes of sugar I would need in my coffee, right? So that answers the question of how many. How many cubes would you like? And you answer by saying 2 cubes. That answers this question because it is countable. Whereas looking at the second example about how much, it also talks about quantity, but it is actually uncountable, right? Like for example, how much sugar do you want in your coffee? Okay, if I ask you that question, how much sugar do you want in your coffee? The other person is not going to say, ma'am, I would like 5,000 grains of sugar. Obviously, nobody's going to, sit and count all the grains, right? It's uncountable. So you might say probably very little sugar in my coffee, please. Or probably, 1 teaspoon of sugar or 2 teaspoons of sugar, right? Because in this case, it's grains of sugar. You won't be counting it, right? So it's very little sugar, please, right? Or, sometimes we say just a teaspoon would do, right? Right. Okay, going on to how often. If you ask a question that starts with how often, that means you want to know about the frequency of something happening, right? In this case, well, this is also a question regarding coffee. I love coffee, right? But apart from this, if you have a question like how often are there flights from Bangkok to Sydney? Well, there might be probably 5 flights per day, right? Okay, that's the frequency. That's the number of flights that you want to know that flies from Bangkok to Sydney. In this case, how often do you drink coffee? I love coffee. Yes, 5 times a day. Definitely, for sure. I love coffee, right? So how often do you drink coffee? It's 5 times. This shows the frequency of or the time, how many times do I take coffee? Sorry about that, right? Going on to the last one, how far? If I use the word far with how, I want to know the distance, right? I'm sure you must be using these words like how far. How far is the coffee shop from your house? Yes, definitely I want to know. How far is the coffee shop from your house? So you want to cover the distance. Probably it's just 2 streets away. 2 streets away. Yeah, nowadays we have a lot of coffee shops around, right? People usually hang out at coffee shops. So 2 streets away is how far the coffee shop is from your house, right? Or you might say, how far is your workplace from your home? So you might say that it is probably 4 miles away. 4 miles being how far, or the distance that is covered from your office to your home, right? This covers the question of how. Let's just look at it one more time. How many, that means the quantity, or countable, right? Ensure that you know this. If you're asking a question regarding how many, means that you want to know about the quantity, but it has to be countable. Whereas if you're looking about a question about how much, it's also about quantity, but it has to be uncountable, right? On the third, how often, okay, if you're asking a question regarding, or if you're framing a question with how often, that means the frequency, how many times it's happening, right? And the fourth one, how far, the distance being covered. I hope you liked today's lesson. I absolutely enjoyed teaching it. So till next time,